Hey everybody! In my previous video, I took a picture of the witch's broom, and I dealt with a lot of light pollution issues, including a halo that seemed to go around my image. Now, since then, and thank you to those who responded with comments and suggestions, I think I've come down to the root cause, which was in fact issues compounded due to my dew hood. Now, my dew hood or my dew shield is homemade. It's a cylinder and it's lined with felt. And I had two problems with it. The first being that it sat too high on my scope, which left about a half-inch, quarter-inch gap between where the felt ended and where the OTA started. And that gap allowed light to shine through the outside of my dew hood, which was constructed out of some sort of foam or plastic foam material. So what I managed to do was push the hood further down onto my OTA, removing the gap, and that helped. But it didn't eliminate the halo or the light pollution problem. I think what I'm also finding is that by lining the dew hood with felt, the felt, even though it's black, is somewhat reflective. And given how much light pollution, just exterior lighting there is in my backyard from neighbors, from street lights and so forth, that light somehow refracts around through my dew hood and bounces down onto my primary mirror. So in fact, if I take off the dew hood, I get a better image than with it. Unfortunately, that induces dew, hence the dew hood. So I need to do a couple of things. First of all, I do need to fix my dew hood. I need to line it with something better than felt. Or I might buy one. They're not that expensive. And that should hopefully take care of the light refraction problem from within the dew hood. Obviously, seating the dew hood properly on the scope is necessary as well. Now, one of the things that I wanted to try when dealing with the light pollution was to create a mask that I could use to subtract the pollution from my images. Kind of like flats, which would deal mostly with vignetting and dust motes and other defects within the image. I wanted to create a mask that would target light pollution within the scope. And I did manage to do that. So this is my diffuser, so to speak. This is what I use to capture my flats. This is a paper protector. So it's a paper protector that you would put into a duotang, right? So here's a sheet of paper, paper protector. And I would just put this over top of my scope, point the scope at the sky, and that's how I would take my flats. For this exercise here, I took out the paper, leaving just the paper protector, which is semi-transparent. And I pinned this to the front of my scope. Urban Paper Protector Diffuser Mask Astrophotography Tool. I took flats, except the way I would take these isn't the really quick flats that we normally do. I left this on for the same duration as my photos. So in this case, 3 minutes. So basically, I ended up creating a mask of the same image duration as the images I was taking at night with this semi-transparent diffuser on the front of my scope. And then I use that in place of the flats when processing my image. So this video is a little bit long. I'm going to put some timestamps for key points if you want to skip directly to them, or right to the end if you want to see the final results. I'm putting the summary at the beginning of this video so that you don't have to sit through the whole thing if you don't want to. You can jump to the end to see the final results, or I'll just post them here while I'm speaking. Does it work? Yes. Does it reduce the need for or replace the need for filters? Absolutely not. But if you're shooting with broadband or in broadband and you have light pollution, sky glow, different sources of light from the backyard, from neighbors, from street lights, this can absolutely help reduce the impact of that light pollution on your image processing. So it can save you a lot of headaches. Does it eliminate everything? No. But, well, see for yourselves, right? It definitely eliminates quite a bit. One of the problems I had, rather, was this halo. And while this helped with the halo, it didn't eliminate it entirely. And the reason for that is that the halo was caused by light diffracting through my dew hood, and that light diffracting in changed depending on the orientation of my scope. So as my scope traveled throughout the night sky, the angle of light changed. But does the mask help in general? Yeah, I think quite a bit. I wish I would have stumbled onto this much earlier. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody. And thank you. Enjoy the video. Let me know how it goes for you if you do end up trying this. So while my focus aid is running, my plan is still to take, say, 4 exposures at 3 minutes and 240 gain of something in the sky, seeing if the halos are still there, which I assume they are, or with not the halos around the stars, but the halo around the edges of my image. If it is, then I'm going to adjust my dew cap, my dew hood rather, see if I can get rid of that gap. So you can plainly see right now with all this light in the backyard, obviously I can turn my lights off and I will, but all the surrounding light, city lights, it's pretty bright over there. You can't see on this camera, but it is. I'll first check the dew hood, and then I'll try creating a mask, see where that gets me. Again, for the mask, let me just get my red light on. So for the mask, what I plan to do is just take this somewhat opaque piece of divider. So what is that, a paper holder? What is that? It's like a dual tang divider. And I will pin it to the front of my dew hood and take some photos. Good. My autofocus aid completed. So now I'm going to, where am I going to pan to? I guess we can do the veil again. So let's find some targets. All right, what we're looking at here is my guiding. And we have so far taken 2 out of 4 exposures. I see some dust motes on my camera. That's got to be on the sensor. I should probably deal with that before I take any photos for the night. Or I can take care of it with flats. 2 out of 4. Once again, having a quick look at my guiding. So this is a NexStar SE mount with a way overloaded NexStar 6 SE telescope with an additional, oh god, it's got to be at least 10 pounds worth of equipment on it. Not to mention a 5-pound dumbbell to go with that. That'll be 10 pounds including the dumbbell. Still, that's a lot of weight for that mount. And my guiding is 1.18. Connecting power. Okay. Again, I'm not cooling the camera right now. But the other thing I wanted to do was to fix this. So, what we'll do here, I will move this up. It should give me more clearance to push that down on the scope. We'll check that out once it's on. So that shortens my dew hood considerably. I'm just going to pan the camera around to see if that worked. All right, hopefully that did the trick. So I switched over my dew hood. It should now fit much more snugly onto my OTA. And I think I blew the dust off of my camera sensor. Re-engaged my auto guiding. I don't really care if that settles. I'm not looking for a perfectly focused image. I just need the field of view to stay rather more consistent. And here we go. We're about to do our data set number 2, or capture set number 2, or sequence number 2. And this is going to be dew hood adjusted. And stop live view and start the capture plan. There we go. All right, whatever happens here, I've decided to point my scope at M39 for the rest of the night. I don't think I'm going to be able to do much in terms of nebulas until my filters arrive. But M39 is a nice open cluster, so hopefully it'll be okay in broadband. And I will reduce my gain to 120 for this one. So good news, the dust motes are gone. So my camera should be set and ready to go whenever I'm finished with this test. So this second set is done, and now I'm going to put on the diffuser. And by diffuser, I mean the duotang paper cover. And we'll take some shots that way that hopefully I'll be able to use as a set of masks to subtract the halo. Okay, my neighbors down the road have turned off their floodlights. That's good, but I don't know if you guys can tell. This is very hazy. It's humid, is what it is. I'm actually worried that when I take off this dew hood, in the time that it takes me to put on that diffuser, it's going to already get covered over. So let's try to do this quickly. Now take this piece of plastic. I'm just going to position it like this. One. And we're just going to put that up on the telescope. Okay, so there it is. My diffuser is up. Okay, here we go. This is kind of like taking dark flats at this point. I really don't have any need for guiding.
The diffuser is diffusing. The screen is obviously much darker since I'm blocking most of the light. We're not seeing any stars, which is what we're expecting. Let's try this. So what I'm going to call this, I'm going to call this mask. This is our third sequence. This is going to be either a moment of soul-crushing disappointment or we're going to see something interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was hoping for. We can clearly see the vignetting around the edges. And we can see the outline of the halo that I was seeing. I just don't know if this is going to be enough. Is this just the brighter patch in the center of the image, or is it the actual halo? We're not going to be able to tell until we stack this and we run it through some stretching. So, so far so good. We're seeing something. I'm going to let this run. And when all 4 frames are finished, I'm going to try to create a mask.
Okay, so I've shot with my dew hood the way it was originally. I took some photos with my dew hood adjusted, and now I took some photos with my dew hood covered with quote-unquote diffuser. So the only thing left to do is to take off my hood entirely. Now, I don't know if that's going to work. There's so much humidity in the air, I think I'm going to get condensation as soon as that dew hood comes off. But I'm going to take a shot. I want to see what this does. Yeah, look at that condensation. You can see it on the other side of this already. Let's take one more set here. I just want to see what shooting without the hood is going to do for the halo. There's my guide graph, and the corrections are being made properly. And I've restarted my sequence, my plan of 4 photos. I'll just wait for those to complete. We're almost done here. Have the last set finishing. Last picture, last photo. 5 seconds to go. I have my other camera set up here. And we're done. All right, let's get that hood back on the scope before dew's over. The dew hood is back on. Once again, I should have turned off my guiding. That's going to be thrown for a loop. You know, while I'm here, I'm just going to turn my camera a little bit. Okay, that should do it. And what we want to do here is just to get the scope lined up with our next target, which is going to be M39, and get this little guy going too. And that'll be it.
Hey everybody. So I finished my test runs and I've repositioned my scope to look at M39. M39 is a open cluster in the constellation Cygnus, to the up and left of Cygnus, to be exact. And according to the internet, it was discovered in 1749 by someone named Guillaume Le Gentil, and then cataloged by Charles Messier in 1764. Best observed with a pair of binoculars. It contains a couple of dozen stars. So, yeah, there it is. Let's capture that for the rest of tonight. I'll check back in the morning. I should point out that I'm going to be using 120 ISO, so I'll just turn off live view here and pick up, what time is it? It's 2 a.m. We need about 4 hours. So let's take a plan for 4 hours. And this plan has 180 seconds at 120 gain, 80 count of frames. Let's edit that just to make sure. Yeah, 180, 120 gain, pause of 1 second between, count of 80, and I don't really care if we're dithering, we're just shooting stars here. So I'm going to press OK. And let's change the name of what we're capturing. This is now going to be M39 Open Cluster. And let's see, we do have guiding on. Our guiding is, what the heck is our guiding doing? I guess it didn't start clean. You know what? It's not doing corrections again. All right, well, let's kill guiding. So stop, kill PhD2. This happened to me earlier. I think I need a reboot. Let's relaunch PhD2. While we're doing that, I'm going to be taking some wider angle shots of my scope with the sky in the background. All right, PhD2, let's reconnect everything. And let's get tracking going, guiding going. I hope I haven't lost my position. View, bullseye. Let's go back to live view. Please don't have shifted. Okay, still looks good. Turn off live view. Are we? Yep, now we're getting corrections. All right. Guiding, good. Positioning, good. Framing, I think it's good. Capture plan, set, and start. And now let's go over to Backyard Nikon. And here too, I've got a whole bunch of 15-second exposures at 400 ISO. And let's start capture on those two. The target is going to be, I guess, Wedgie. And start. Okay, with any luck, we'll have some captures in the morning. Okay, I've got our test captures here. Let's do test sequence 1. This is the original without any change whatsoever. Gonna bring those in. And should I use dark files, flat files? Yeah, I'm gonna throw everything at this. Okay, this is just from my library. I'm using a cold camera, and other than those two dust spots, my sensor should be okay. All right, let's process this. Check all. Register. All right, so this is the first run. Now let's do the next run. So let's lose those. And now let's bring in sequence 2. So this is now with the dew hood adjusted. And again, let's pick something arbitrarily as a reference and stack. Now let's bring in the next set of files. So once again, we'll lose those 4. And this time, this is the mask, just to keep consistent with the order that we took these in. Okay. Now, I'm not going to be able to stack this because these are empty. They don't have any stars. Well, let's try it. Use this reference. I might have to run these just as flat files and have it generate a mask. Or I might have to use one individually, but I'd rather have them stacked. What's it going to do? Yeah, only one of the 4 will be stacked. Okay, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take, let's make a subfolder here. Let's call it Goofy. And let's put those 3 files in there. Those 4 files, actually. Okay, that's going to be our mask. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back. Yeah, let's go back. Cancel this. Let's do the very last set. Yeah, we'll do the very last set here. That wasn't it. Okay, so this is going to be number 4. Register, yes. Now this is the one where I jostled the camera a little bit, so may or may not be able to stack all of them either, but let's try. Okay, stack. What's it going to do? It's going to stack all 4. Okay. So that's going to give us 3 runs that we can compare. And then one of them, we're going to have to generate a master flat file. And here's how we're going to do that. So I'm going to go back to this selection. I'm going to take off my master flat. There it is. Okay, no more master flat. Now I'm going to add picture files. So let's go back and let's add the original sequence. There it is. And now let's add flat files. But for the flat files, we're going to pick our Goofy folder. So where I put these, Halo. Is it me you're looking for? Goofy. Now let's select all of those. All right, register check pictures, yes. And let's again pick one arbitrarily as reference and stack. So what's the difference here? The difference here is I generated the flat mask I'm going to take the second run because in the second run I had removed the 2 dust motes here. I think I accidentally introduced one on the side, but whatever, let's do it anyway. Okay, so let's lose these ones. Let's bring in test run 2. Okay, sequence 2. Yep. Let's rerun this. Use as reference and stack. Okay, it's going to stack 4 images, but now it's going to apply the new flat mask master that we generated. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Okay, let's see what this does for us. All right, so here's GIMP. And I want to compare the original test run 2. So let's go open. And where did I put these? That's okay. Let's just do some basic stretching. We should see the halo regardless. All right, well, let's see. We're 3 in. Let's bring this up here. That's a solid stretch. Look at that. Right, and we can see the which is Broom, so part of it right there. Now what happens if we do that here? Same thing, curves, 1, 2, 3 in. Let's bring that up. Holy moly, that's a difference. But we can still see the nebulosity. Is it better here? Yeah, slightly. No, it really isn't. Look at that. Guys, I think I've invented flat frames. Huh. Obviously, I'm kidding. I've never seen anyone doing flat frames like this. But, I mean, you have to have the same light conditions for this to work. I get the concept of flat frames, right? With flat frames, you're looking for the imperfections in your field of view, right? But in this case, by shooting flat frames like this, what we're actually doing is extracting out, we're subtracting the imperfections caused by errant light or light pollution. I didn't think this was going to work. I'm going to play with this a little bit more, and I guess I'll post my final findings with the image that I'm working on now. Awesome. Hey everybody, good morning. I'm validating my results. So what I've done so far is I've taken the original stacks of 4 that I took last night. So the original without any changes to my hood, the adjusted hood height, and then no hood. And I've applied the same basic stretch to all of them. And now I'm doing the same thing with those 3 stacks with the mask applied. So I'm going to compare the before mask and after mask with the same stretches across all 3 images. Now I did that once already, but I messed up on my parameters, so I'm just going to redo that. So here's my original stretched. And now I'm going to take my original with mask applied, and I'm going to restretch that one as well. And how I'm doing that is I just took down the parameters and I'm reapplying them each time. So we'll go to hyperbolic stretch. We will set the initial symmetry point and local stretch intensity to 15, and then stretch factor is going to be 1. That's the initial stretch. Apply. And now we're going to do the same thing with the second stretch. All right, there's the symmetry point. We're leaving the local stretch intensity and what I'm going to do now is I'll take the pictures that I took of M39. I'm going to run them through the same process using the flat mask that we created using the diffuser. And with the old flats, we're going to take that image, do a hyperbolic stretch, bring that up to 15, and stretch parameter factor 1. Okay. So here we see we still have vignetting. The flats didn't do a heck of a lot for the light pollution is really what it comes down to. I'm going to save this. And then let's do exactly the same thing, but with the updated mask. And here's our moment of truth. Wow, look at that difference. Ignoring this for a moment, but look at that difference. It's like removing a lot of vignetting and sky removal all at once. I am surprised. I'm happy with these results. Happy. I'm shocked. Shocked, I say. That's pretty cool. That is a new tool in the toolkit. So I don't know. Is anyone doing flats like this? Is this a new approach? Did we discover something new? Probably not. But yeah, we need a name for this. Gotta think of something.
Urban Paper Protector Diffuser Mask Astrophotography Tool.
Huh.
Urban Paper Protector Diffuser Mask Astrophotography
Cool.
Tool. Urban Paper Protector Diffuser Mask Astrophotography Tool.
One more thing to add here. I took that same set of photos, so the 51 frames of M39, and I reprocessed them in Deep Sky Stacker. But this time, I didn't use my dark frames because my new flats were actually 3-minute exposures, which means whatever amp glow would have shown up on those 3-minute exposures already. Now, as far as the hot pixels go, I could be mistaken, but I think my flat bias frames would have taken those into account already. So this is the result in Cyril after the same stretches. I'm going to play around a little bit with this in GIMP, and I'll post the image at the end. But so far, I'm really happy with these results. Like, this is pretty cool. I wish I would have stumbled on this last year. I had so many problems with light pollution, especially with my Nikon. So, yeah, hopefully this helps somebody out. I'm going to do one final test here. So what I did the next night after doing M39 and the initial testing with the diffuser is I retook the witch's broom. And it was a cloudy night. It wasn't great. The conditions were bad. So I only got in 28 frames that were useful. Everything else was clouded over. But I want to see what the before and after is using regular flats versus the new diffuser-based flats. So let's have a look at that. So I've got Cyril up and running. I'm going to do the same stretches as I did the previous night. And let's compare the two. For reference, this is the original image that I posted in my video a week and a half ago. This video, or this image, is the result of 10 hours of data and many hours of processing, where the original image had a halo which was extracted. Now, that halo extraction was done painfully and manually, and you can still see some portions of the image where there's quite a bit of blurring from where the original halo was that I couldn't quite extract. This second image is the image that I took the previous night. This is 28 frames at 3 minutes apiece. So this is just about an hour and a half worth of data. Using a regular mask, you can clearly see the halo. Even though image processing in Cyril and GIMP, we managed to extract out a lot of the light pollution that was in the center. And then finally, here's the same image, but with the diffuser mask used as a flat frame, right? So as you can see, you can kind of make out the halo. It's still present, but it's nowhere near as bad as in this version where we're using the regular flat frames. And the light pollution in the center is gone as well. So I don't know if I can get these two side by side. This is the same image, one using regular flats and the other one using the diffuser flats. Right, you can see the difference. We can extract much more light out of the stars here. We can definitely get more detail out of the nebula. We can push this further when it comes to stretching than this version here, where the halo is really impacting the shot. So there we are.
Urban Paper Protector Diffuser Mask Astrophotography Tool. UPPDMAT.